Hello and welcome to my easy workflow in Premiere Pro to editing clips or videos. This is aimed mostly at beginners. Um, the interface in Premiere Pro can be a little bit overwhelming if you're new to editing clips or videos. There's a lot of options, a lot of things that could be done. And so I'm fairly new myself to Premiere Pro, and so I've had to do quite a bit of research to do the most basic things in this software. So I'm using the 2019 Adobe Premiere Pro version, and so let's get started here. So I opened the interface of the program. So to start, you would click File and just go into New Project. This opens a window, and here you can leave untitled, or you can title whatever video you would like your clip, video, stock footage, or whatever it is to have. So just for the purpose of this tutorial, I'm just going to type YouTube vid right here. Location, of course, you would choose where you would like your file to be saved in. I always leave the Mercury Playback Engine software only. This works for me. I do not change anything else. Time code, audio samples, capture format, I leave as is. So I put the title if I want one, the location I want to find the video file in. Click OK, and then this is very easy actually. Premiere Pro helps you a little bit here. It tells you to import your media to start in this window here. So I'm just going to grab a clip from my desktop, drag and drop in here. And there it is. So my clips, I've been filming with the Sony a7 III camera, which I purchased not that long ago. So here you have your import bin, and this is your timeline here. So of course, to proceed to editing, you're going to want to drop your clip into the timeline, and the easiest way to do this is to left click to select your video and just go to the little document page here at the bottom and simply drop, and here your clip appears on the timeline. Now what's fun about this software, Premiere Pro, is that you can customize the windows to your preference. You can select the windows you want, delete other windows you do not want, but what I like best is that you can really adjust the sizes of the windows as you're working. For example, if you're editing your video, like colorizing, or setting the exposure and so on and so forth, you could just make your window bigger. You would not have access to the lower part, but as you need it, you could just make it bigger. So again, you can just drag by left clicking and just choose whatever window you want to work with at a specific time. So I really like this customization. It really works for me. So here's the timeline. So the top file of the timeline is the actual video, and the bottom one is the audio. Okay, so let's say you wanted to mute your audio for whatever reason. You didn't like the audio, it's not good enough, or you wish to add music or whatever. you would left click on the audio box, the second box here, and you would just enable the M for mute, which lights up in green. And this way, when you played your video, there won't be any sound attached to it. Okay, the same thing, if you wanted to put the audio back, you would just left click on the M, and then you will get your audio back in here. There you go. Now, upon playing your video, if you enabled in the tools this indicator here that tells you if you get any drop frames during playback, I like to enable this to see. Now, if no frames are dropped in playback, the light will actually be green, such as this. And when frames are being dropped, it turns to yellow. Now, I don't like seeing drop frames as I'm playing video. And the best workaround I found to that is really to minimize every video window, being in assembly or editing or color or effects or audio or whatever. Just as this video is smaller, I find that on my PC, when my video screens are bigger like this and I'm reading the file, it tends to drop more files, such as this here. And so for me, what works well, if I don't want to see those drop frames during playback, I just, after I'm done with the editing and before exporting the video, I make sure my windows are small. So here you have your editing tab, where you can edit your video. Let's just make this window a little bit bigger here. Okay, so very simply, it's very simple in this Premiere Pro software. If you wanted to cut your clip, let's say you wanted the clip to start here instead of the beginning, you would just left click here on the mark in, and now your file, the file that you will export, is going to start here. The whole video still appears on the timeline, but it actually starts from where you clicked. So instead of starting from here, it would start from here. And the same thing to cut your clip. If you want to cut before the end, you select the out point and you left click on mark out, and so your actual exported file will stop wherever you selected. And of course, as in any software, if you want to undo your changes, you can left click on edit. Undo will undo your last change, and if you keep going, it will undo the previous change, and then you can revert back to whatever it is you edited in your program here. Okay, so let's move along to the Effects tab. Just a quick mention that effects in Premiere Pro is as much video effects as audio effects. So depending on which file you click on, you have to actually open the file to see the options. This is the audio effects here, and then you have video effects here also. Okay, and it's worth noting that instead of going through the menus and actually looking for whatever you want, you could just type directly in the effects panel here and then quickly find the effect that you would like to put on your video. Okay, so if you had, for example, a handheld video that you wanted to stabilize, give it more of a professional look, more of a tripod filmed video, you would go into your video effects and into the distort file here. You can left click and open it. You have different options, and one of them is the warp stabilizer. So this would stabilize your footage to give it more of a tripod look, more stabilized, and it's very simple to use. You left clicked on it and you drop it on the video part of your timeline, and you can see here in the window it's working. It's actually analyzing to stabilize your footage in 2 steps, one of 2 steps here. So this is done automatically for you. I think it's a pretty powerful tool. So this is in video effects, warp stabilizer, left click and drag on the video part. The same way in the audio effects, if you left click the file to open your options, you have the denoise option here, effect, which I like to use. I'm not using any microphone for my footage right now, which I'm planning to get shortly, but often I end up with a little bit of noise in the background to my clips. And so a quick turnaround for me in this software is to open a tab in denoise, video effects, left click, and drop it on the audio part of the video as such, and this will automatically reduce the noise, the unwanted noise in the background, make it, just clean it up a little bit. Alright, so we have our video here. We're still analyzing. The warp stabilizer is still analyzing. It takes a few minutes to complete. It should be completing soon. Okay, so the next tab I go into after is the color tab. Here you have different sections. You have the basic correction, creative, your curves, you have your color wheels and match, HSL secondary, and vignette. These I'm not really using right now. Sometimes I will use the color wheels if I want to adjust the color of shadows, your midtones, or your highlights, so you can play with the hue in the color wheels and match. Curve, you can add the famous S curve to your footage here if you wish to do so, if it looks better to you. The creative tab here, you have some effects that you could change, presets for your video. So let's just make this window a little bit bigger to see what they look like. So here you have all your different looks. You could go straight to one, or you could just try different looks as you go, just clicking on the arrows through the list, and perhaps see if there's a look that you would like. I like using the creative tab more than the one in basic correction. I'll tell you why. It's because you can adjust the intensity from the get-go, which you can't do in the other tab. So you can give the intensity that you want, and then you could adjust the vibrance, saturation. You could even turn on the faded film effect. So you have a way to go there to get you started with pre-selections, whatever you want. And of course the basic correction is all your basic stuff. You would have your exposure, contrast, highlights, shadows, whites and blacks, temperature, colder or warmer, lighting, tint, and you have your LUTs here if you wanted to import some LUTs or use the ones that are already in the program. As I said, I cannot adjust the intensity here. I could still play with the settings to my liking, but I do like in the creative tab down below to be able to adjust the intensity of the look or the color scheme that I chose. So there you have it. Okay, so once you've edited your clip to your liking, your audio, your stabilizer, you created the look that you wanted. Again, if you can just make any window bigger to see what is actually what the changes look like. Yeah, basically that's it. So now if you wanted to export the clip with the changes that you made to it, just left click File, go down to Export Media, and then a window will open enabling you to do the final export that you chose. And here we have our export window. Okay, so here you have your output and your source video. So this is the clip that you entered. You have the file size, the frames per second, and so on and so forth. And your output is what you will actually output. I try to I keep those the same because unless I need to make any change, I want to preserve the same quality that I filmed with my A7 III camera. And so I just match the source for the output. I want to have quality files, so I enable the use maximum render quality here. And in the video tab, let's left click this. You have other settings down here. I also enable the render at maximum depth for high quality. And then here in the bitrate settings, I changed this to 2 pass, so the file will be better quality. And it takes a few seconds here to change. So right now we have a 12 megabyte video file, as you can see down here. And then below, the bitrate encoding for 4K video, I usually set the target bitrate at around 35, which is recommended. See, the file size goes up here to 45, and the maximum bitrate I would put at maybe 10 more, approximately 10 more. So around 46 would be good. And there you have it, very simple workflow. Of course, you would, if you want to change your file name, you would change it here. You would just click on it and change the file name. You can also select where you would like your video to be saved in, or your clip. And this is for the name, and just left click on export, and there you will have wherever you chose your file to be with the settings that you picked and the file name, and it will export your video, and that's about it. So a quick turnaround for beginners in Premiere Pro to edit just a simple clip or footage that you would like to get done in a timely manner. And so thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more videos about cameras, editing, and accessories.